But I will say, if you're a guy who likes fishing and you find a girl who likes fishing, that is an instant probably hard, right? Like on. And
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know. I forgot the on. But like, do you know what I mean? Like that is an instant because like it's probably hard to find.
Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
You're here, you made it to us, you love romantic comedies, which is great because we do as well.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today we have
Players.
And wherever you're listening to us, please throw us a follow, subscribe. And if you want to reach out about anything on the pod, we have this really cool community going on our Instagram account that we would love for you to be a part of. It's at Romcom Rewind on Instagram.
We have a message from Selena. She says, "Hi, Sarah and Devin. I recently found your podcast in search for one about rom-coms and have been on a binge listen ever since.
Surprise, that's us. You found
It's
us.
so amazing. I'd love for you to do an episode on About Anyone But You. It's my new absolute favorite movie. Also rewatches What Happens in Vegas and Another Cinderella Story. Maybe also Passengers and Titanic. Not comedy, but still romantic.
I would totally put Titanic in the wheelhouse of things we would do.
Completely agree. Yeah. Yes. So thank you so much for your message.
Anyone But You has got to be on our list for the next month because, like, it seems so many of you listening.
Yeah.
If there's one new romantic comedy you've seen this year, it's probably that one.
Yeah, we're definitely going to have to go find it in the theater and go to it. We got to get that done, Devin.
We might be the only ones at this point. But
who haven't been. I haven't been to a theater in a while. Actually, you know what? Since Barbie.
Yeah,
Since
we
the
talked
debacle
about that
in Barbie.
Last episode.
Yeah.
This is another new 2024. It's a Netflix romantic comedy. Players is directed by Trish C. I hope I'm saying that right. Trish is best known for directing Step Up, All In, and Pitch Perfect 3. Kind of carrying on those franchises.
Okay.
This is the story, however, of Mackenzie, or Mac, played by Gina Rodriguez. Mac is a New York City... she's a sports beat writer. She works for a magazine. Her real calling card is that her and her friends have elaborate and strange ways that they scheme to hook up with people. Like plays. They run plays to hook up. Those people are coworker Adam, played by Damon Wayans Jr., other coworker, there's Brannigan, played by Augustus Prue, and his younger brother, Little. They literally just call him Little. He's played by Joel Courtney. They kind of make up the group. Now, this group and Mac are thrown into flux, however, when Pulitzer Prize nominated author Nick, played by Tom Ellis, arrives at their office. He's very notable. And Mac is immediately enthralled with him and needs to be with him. She has to have him. Thus, the group, they come up with another elaborate scheme, a play for Mac to nab Nick. That's your lead-in for Players. What are your thoughts?
Brannigan, what do you got?
I need a wingman tonight. Blonde bar, martini. Mac, she's thinking.
Let's run Fiji Fantasy.
Ooh, yes.
Vodka soda, please.
Can we talk? I am so sorry.
It's okay. I just think that we're moving too fast.
Physically?
God, no. That thing that you do with your tongue is miraculous. You know what? Let's cancel Fiji. Take somebody else.
Don't leave.
You're gonna go after her? Okay.
I really enjoyed this movie. And I don't know if it's because I love Damon and I love Gina from like their separate sitcoms that they were on before. I really liked it. I liked the writing in this. I liked the jokes. And now that you say that the director did Pitch Perfect 3, I'm like, I can vibe with that. It might have been my least favorite Pitch Perfect movie, but I still liked it, you know? Like I still loved it. I did really enjoy this movie. For a Netflix rom-com, hey, I think they did a good job. This is the second movie for Gina. She did Someone Great a few years ago, I believe in 2018, 2019. We haven't done that one yet for the pod. I'm sure it'll come soon. But I really liked it. I liked the writing. I loved the jokes. I thought they were really quick and witty, and I liked the group. And what I liked best, because I do like this movie quite a bit, obviously, as you can tell, it was like a reverse on what we would normally see in a rom-com, where like the guy would do a play to get the girl, which has been
Right.
done so many times.
Sure,
like,
yeah.
or like whether it was like a bet made, or whether it was like a deal done, or like whatever, or like a scheme to come up with to get the girl or to get a girl. I liked that it was kind of like role reversal, and she was the playmaster and like wanted to get out of the friend zone and like made this elaborate scheme in a way, or a play, to get the guy.
I agree with you. I think like this one didn't quite totally hit for me, but I do agree. I loved
They didn't
how
hit it out of the park
they
for
didn't
you.
hit it out of the park for me. But I love how fleshed out the background characters were, or I guess
Yes.
the sideline characters.
Yeah.
Because there's some movies where you think, oh man, I wish the supporting whoever got way more screen time. They stole the show, but they were in it for like 10 minutes. No. The sideline characters play big roles in this. I thought Joel Courtney, he's going to be my honorable mention. I thought he was fantastic.
He was funny.
Augustus as Brannigan was hilarious. Gina, you talked about she was from Jane the Virgin, right?
She was,
I
yes.
think
I loved Jane the Virgin.
this is an interesting collision of a lot of fascinating, because Joel Courtney, The Kissing Booth,
Yep.
that's where you know him from. Gina Rodriguez, Jane the Virgin, Tom Ellis, Lucifer.
Yep.
I mean, Damon Wayans Jr. has been doing a ton of stuff. It is kind of an interesting combination of like a lot of people who kind of like ran the ship on their own shows for a long time coming together to do this movie, which is really, the chemistry just didn't totally fit for me. Is where I'm going to draw the line.
I will agree. I think, you know what? I will agree with you on that. I think chemistry as a friend group was pretty good for me.
Oh,
Yes.
impeccable.
Yeah, I
the
think-
friends were so much fun,
Yeah.
but it was just hard to sell me on Adam,
Yeah.
Damon. Fun fact, being the actual love interest,
Yes.
because they were like best friends. They were like brother and sister.
Yeah. And they grazed on it quickly at the very beginning, saying that they tried it in high school or tried it in college, didn't work, moved on, and like it was like they were best friends forever, and you didn't really see the real chemistry between. I get it. I
Yeah.
agree.
Anyway, let's dive in.
So the movie starts out with them running a play to get a girl, and the play is called Fiji Fantasy. It hits everything a woman wants: someone who spends money on their person, who's ready for a long-term commitment, hook, line, and sinker. It works.
Well, the intro, you don't even see their faces. You can hear them talking about all
Yes.
these different plays that they could possibly do. It's very reminiscent of Barney Stinson on
Yes,
How I
yes.
Met Your Mother. In fact, like if you just took the concept of like Barney Stinson's like the Bro Code playbook, I
Yep.
think is what he calls it. Like that's basically this whole movie. It's like, what if we really like write a story centered around these people just run plays to get each other to hook up with other people, and that's how the movie starts.
Weirdly enough, though, I think it was in better taste.
Extremely better
Like-
taste.
Like, I think there was no cringe level to it. It was
I-
kind of like, this is what happens at a bar all the time. Like, people are figuring out ways to, you know, what's your pickup line? What do you talk about when you first like start talking to somebody? What do you think Tinder and all the other dating sites do, right?
So I'll tell you the exact difference. How I Met Your Mother, I vividly remember this episode. Barney Stinson knocked on women's doors who he knew they were married and told them, like, your husband's been cheating on you with my wife. We should get back at them.
Oh my God.
By having sex with me.
Oh
so,
my
like,
God.
potentially ruining marriages.
Yeah.
A little bit
Different.
more unsavory
Yeah.
than this movie. This movie, everybody remains likable
Yes.
while they're running these plays and schemes to get each other hooked up. Because they're not.
That's a
like,
good point.
They're not hurting anybody. It's just sex, guys. It's an elaborate way to get sex.
Yes, and
I'm
it's
breaking
kind
up
of
marriages here.
yeah, and
like
it's kind
Barney
of
Stinson.
it's kind of established at the very beginning that it's like they do this for hooking up, not for long-term relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like it's just for a good time. And so Mac gets back to her apartment, and it's funny because like you can tell she can run a play by herself. So she gets home, she tells her friends before she leaves she's going to go and hook up with her neighbor who's moving like that weekend. She gets back to her apartment, does a mailbox switch, then runs upstairs to her place, puts on fishing TV, and
she grabs a
brushes
fishing rod.
Yeah, grabs
out
fishing
of
rod,
the
tackle.
closet. She's got a tackle box.
everything kind of in place. She's brushing her teeth, and then all of a sudden she gets a knock at the door, and it's super early. Like, she's been out all night, and it's her neighbor who is into fishing, obviously.
Also, objectively good-looking guy.
Yes, definitely.
And he's kind of like, hey, somehow I got your mail. And then he notices over her shoulder, he's like, are you watching the Fishing Bonanza of 2022 or whatever the frickin' show was?
Yeah.
She's like, oh, yeah, isn't it great?
She like reads up on all these things, all the interests of the person in order to get them. Anyway, it works. Literally, this is a hook, line, and sinker for this. They hook up, and then she sends him on his way, and he like says, "Oh, good luck with the move," like knowing full well this was like a one night stand. This is all that's gonna happen.
Never gonna see you again. So I thought that was interesting that she cycled in on this one hobby. She's like, he's a fishing guy. I'm just gonna convince him I'm a fishing girl.
Yeah.
We're gonna bang. And I thought that's interesting that like, I don't know, fishing was literally the only way that she, like, that's what got this guy laid. I have a question for you. What do you think are the most sexy hobbies in that? Like, what hobbies do you think get you laid the most?
Oh.
Why don't you throw out some thoughts?
I
don't have the actual numbers in front of me. I just
Okay.
want to let everybody
Okay.
know I couldn't find those exact stats.
Okay, so what I think, fishing is not probably up there for me.
No, you're in a boat with
maybe
probably
like-
just another dude.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Like skiing, snowboarding,
okay,
like
interesting.
winter sports.
Okay. I mean, everybody's got masks and goggles on.
Yeah,
I guess if you're in a chairlift alone, I know
Yeah,
some ski
yeah.
hills do that for Valentine's Day. They'll like
Oh
it'll
my
be like a
gosh,
singles thing
really?
on the chairlift. So if they
I
get
love
single people on the
that.
chairlift, and it's kind of like a 5-minute date, right?
Oh my
you're
god,
just going up the
that's
chairlift.
so cute. It's like speed dating, but skiing and like snowboarding.
I think they literally call it something along those lines. Anyway,
Oh my god, I love it. Ski dating.
I didn't find like, the stats on what hobbies get you laid the most.
Right.
But I did find good Reddit stories of what people on Reddit think gets you laid.
I love it.
And it's funny because Sarah, you actually have experience in some of these.
Oh gosh.
So maybe you can tell us if
Oh no.
it is or not.
Okay.
The first one, this person says sailing.
Oh.
We have a team of 10 to 12 people on a boat, 50% male, 50% female. We're spending the whole weekend in the sun and drinking and then figuring out how to fall asleep on a boat that only has 8 beds for 8. Open bar almost every night. Multiply by 20 to 300 teams, depending on the regatta, all docked in the same area. Get a lot of commingling
Oh, for sure.
with people. You've sailed.
I have sailed.
You took
yes.
sailing lessons
I
because
have, yeah.
you just live in a different world than the rest of us.
Oh my god.
That sailing lessons are.
No.
But would you say that could get you some action?
Yes, I think so. Definitely.
Okay.
It's like, it's kind of, I think sailing is like, I think any sport that's like a group sport where you're all together, like, and like that stuff can happen. Like you can, and there's mingling
Okay.
for sure.
We need to ask the question. Did
Okay.
sailing ever get you laid?
No,
Okay. Do you know people who got laid
No.
sailing? Okay. Did
No.
you not sail around some Greek islands
yes.
and nothing happened?
Actually, no. You know what? Somebody did from a boat, but it was somebody they met on one of the Greek isles that we were ported in, and it was really awkward actually because it was like a full moon that night, and they went out, swam out, and they like did it in the
In the
middle of the
water?
ocean. Well, we
Oh,
were all on
no.
the shore, but they didn't know that the moon was so full, so we could see them.
God, guys. Be better.
I forgot about that. Actually, that's hilarious. Yeah.
So answer, sailing can get you laid.
Yeah, for
That's-
sure.
that's
I'm
the
sure
answer.
it could. Definitely. That's so funny.
This one might be okay. So working at a Renaissance fair. This
Also,
guy says.
wait, I just want to clarify. We didn't watch them though. Like we realized and we were like, oh God, this is awkward. And we like turned away. I just want to clarify
Sarah,
that.
when you told the story, it sounded like you guys were watching.
We weren't.
Sure.
We weren't. We were like, oh no. And we kind of just like continued drinking.
I mean, what else are you gonna do? It's what's on TV. You're gonna watch.
Oh my God.
This next person says working at a Renaissance fair.
Okay.
I would not have pictured that, but they say lots of people who make endless dirty jokes. You catch a cross section of outgoing, artsy, and nerdy people, which seems to lead to a lot of interest in sex.
I feel like, you're with people who have the same likes and dislikes as you in one area. again, you're mingling, and I think you probably have a lot in common with these people. And so one
Okay.
thing leads to another.
We didn't need political Sarah here. Political
just
Sarah's
saying.
here. Judge Sarah is in session.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I could see it because you're with people who like the same shit as you.
And there is something dressing up as somebody else.
You
who-
think?
I
Okay,
think
well
so.
then if that's the case,
can- it can
then
bring out a different
then like
character in your mind.
Comic-Con definitely would be
Totally.
like hide those janitors' closets because or lock them because there's stuff
Hard to
happening
hide
in
a
there.
pre-existing
I know.
closet,
lock
Sarah.
it, lock it.
This isn't Hogwarts. It doesn't move around.
The room of requirement.
This person says, once again, in Sarah's wheelhouse, being a summer camp counselor.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sarah knows some stories
No.
about hookups. Let's go. Tell
Not
us.
me personally,
Let me
but
guess.
yes.
They swam out into the lake on a full
No,
moon.
they did not. But yes, definitely camp counselor for sure.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
This person says, a guy I met through work told me how he had recently joined an intramural cheerleading squad. Another thing Sarah has familiarity with. Said the girls were smoking hot and it kept him in shape. You were in cheerleading, no?
I was, yes.
Were there male cheerleaders?
Yes, there were male
Okay.
cheerleaders on our team.
Was
yeah.
there commingling with
Yes,
the
there was
of course
commingling.
there was. How could there not?
Not with
be?
me personally, but yes, there was. There was, and actually some got married. Some are
Really?
married. Some are married
Oh,
that I
that's
cheered
actually
with.
really cute.
Yeah, some of them. I'm trying to think. 2 or 3 dated for a while, but aren't together anymore. But yeah, there's a few, definitely 1 or 2 that are married now. Yeah, I'm telling you, anytime you get a group of people together and there's mingling
See, that's
and hobbies that are the same.
That's why I'm like the fishing thing is like there's not a whole lot of group
No.
fishing that occurs.
I agree.
It's small groups or it's 2 to 3 people.
But I
usually.
will say, if you're a guy who likes fishing and you find a girl who likes fishing,
Ugh.
that is an instant probably hard, right? Like on. And
Why did you say it like that?
I don't know, I forgot the on. But like, do you know what I mean? Like that is an instant because like it's probably hard to find.
It is true. I mean, you listening, you can corroborate if this is accurate or not. But where we live, dudes on Tinder
Yeah.
love to show off the fish that they've
They love
caught
to show off their
on
fish, yeah.
Tinder, which
Or any dating site.
a lot of girls in our area are like, that's ridiculous, that's stupid. But I know some people,
Yes.
some girls do like it. Okay, can we talk about? We know a girl.
Who's a better fisherman than most of the guys she knows.
She dated a guy who we both know.
Yeah.
And we were like, really? You dated
Oh,
so and so?
yes. Yeah, I
And we were
forgot
just like,
about
that's
that.
an interesting combo. Like, how did
It
that
is
work out?
an extremely interesting
And
combo.
she explained to us, she's like, well, he had a great boat. We're like, what else? She's like, no, it was just the boat. We dated because of his boat.
And she liked to fish.
And she liked to fish and he had a
Yeah.
great boat. Sometimes that's all it takes, I guess.
I mean, it's probably a good thing they're not together, but
They're no longer together.
yeah,
they
no.
were previous. She's dating another guy who also does fish.
yeah.
Probably doesn't have as nice a boat, I guess. But, beggars can't be choosers. Sometimes you marry
She
for
might
love.
she might actually like this guy.
Sometimes you marry for love. Sometimes
Yeah.
you marry for boats. It's
Boats,
man,
boats, boats.
It's a toss-up.
So we find out that Mac and all her friends are all journalists for a newspaper. And that day at work, Nick Russell,
The guy from Lucifer.
yes, comes into the office where they all work, who is a super accomplished journalist. It's established that she wants to hit that.
Excuse me, sorry, guys. Could you point me to Kirk's office?
Was that I know.
Who is he again?
That's Nick Russell.
He's New York's most eligible bachelor.
He's a war reporter. And he saved an actual orphan from an actual burning building.
Was it burning?
Collapsing?
Sinking?
Maybe just like a bad building somewhere.
What's wrong with you?
I might like him.
Like him?
I'm 33 and I want an adult.
Want this dude? Well, let's get him. Need to play, guys. What do we got?
We've never played for keeps.
Well, then, let's moneyball this shit, baby.
They played Drip Drop, where she's always in the vicinity of him. And this is when they're out at a retirement party. And this is the play that they call, it's Drip Drop, where and it kind of just shows, they don't explain it, but they just show the whole play at hand. And I think anyway, she's always in the vicinity of where he is and ends up like talking to her one-on-one at the end of the night. And it's like always in his line of view, always just close enough, always almost dancing on him, always almost spilling her drink on him, like just always there. She ends up at his place. They sleep together. He falls asleep, but she's wandering around his apartment and realizes like this is like a grown man and like this is an adult. This is who I want to be with. I'm ready for the next step of like being in a relationship.
One of my favorite parts of this movie, and it happens multiple times throughout the movie, is when they're trying to figure out the play that they want to run on somebody. Like Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother would like break down an entire play.
Yeah.
They don't. They just kind of spitball, and like it's very strange to me. It does kind of give you an itch at the back of your brain that you're like, what does that mean? Because they're like, oh, can we run the Babe Ruth? And somebody like, wow, we don't have two nuns. And it's somebody, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like they always have. It's like, what was that then? What does that even mean?
Yeah,
you know,
you definitely want to know more.
You want to know more. It does make you think, like, what is all this stuff they're talking about?
Yeah.
You know?
So Nick wakes up and he comes out in the living room and he says to her, like, do you want me to call you a lift? And she's surprised for like a split second because I think she thought that he was a grown adult and might say, hey, do you want to get some food or whatever? And then she says, no, you know what? I already did, when she obviously didn't. And it wasn't even the next morning. It was still the same night. So she went out that night after she left his apartment and met up with her friends who were still out.
Classic New York City.
I am in my 30s and I cannot stay out like that late anymore. Like, what? That's insane to me. I mean, good for them. Like, good for them. They're all single, having a great time. Like,
It's the life they're living.
I love it. I can't do that. Adam agrees once she kind of lays it all out, saying, like, I want to get him. I want to be out of the friend zone. Like, I'm ready. And Adam says, okay, well, let's do this. Let's get him for you. So they devise a plan that they all get information on him. They, you know, stake him out during the day, the night, online. They brief her. And the ultimate goal is to get a drawer in his apartment. That's what she ultimately wants, which they all are like, okay, you can date the guy. That could be your goal, but you want a drawer. Cool. Turns out that they don't have a play because they've never actually played for keeps before. They've always played for just, you know, hooking up. She comes up with an ultimate play called The Flurry. It's a new play. The first part of the play is to become a regular at the bookstore that he's going to be doing a reading at. Slam dunk. It works. They have a brief conversation and it kind of like piques his interest in her once again. Then the next one is The Duck, which she becomes a short-term runner. I'm just going to say that.
Very short
They
term.
spritz her with some water, like her and her friends. Adam spritz her with water. The other two, Little and Brannigan, they're on the lookout. And she pretends not to see him while she's running by him. Again, it works. The third part of the play, I should say, is called The Rope-a-Dope. They need a girl, but they don't have one because she doesn't have any girlfriends because her best friends are all of them. They decide to get the receptionist who works at the newspaper, Ashley. And this part of the play is called The Faint. And they're at a park where there's a movie playing that evening. And she makes it so that she falls in his path. Like she puts her blanket down, sits down with Ashley. Ashley pretends to be completely drunk and wasted and starts eating food off. It's actually funny. Like all of these plays and all of these things are actually funny.
And they're very well thought out.
They
too.
are.
Like, even like the spritzing her chest with water.
She's like, my boobs look good.
To make it look like she's been running for a while.
Like hilarious.
It is well thought out.
It's well written in the sense that like the details are there. Like they're all there and like the witty comments are all there. So Ashley's like lying on the ground completely wasted. And again, the play works like a charm because Mackenzie and Nick, they chat briefly, but it's so that Mackenzie has to bring home Ashley because she's too drunk. But it leaves him again guessing.
So I just have one complaint.
Okay.
Very thoughtful, very well thought out. Can we not just ask this guy out on a date? We've now gone through all this stuff. Weeks have gone by. We're not even dating him yet.
I know. We don't even have a full conversation with him.
Exactly. Like, what are we doing? But I get it. That's the shtick of the running plays and stuff. I just got to a point where I'm like, wow, we're weeks in now, and you still didn't get the date at the last thing where your friend pretended to be drunk?
I do agree that I think like it might have been she didn't need to be drunk and brought home. Like maybe it was like, oh shoot, I gotta go, family emergency, and like leaves, and then the two of them can have a cute like know whatever. There was no there was no like
no
I
sense
guess
of urgency here, guys.
Yeah, like I don't know. It was that part I did find like every play they played, I was like, okay, maybe this is the time where like they actually get to go on a date, where they actually I kept on asking myself. I do agree. Mac and Adam are on the field outside the big stadium, baseball stadium, and they have a moment talking about Mac's parents. And she realizes the angle for her feature for the newspaper for her next article is her parents, their first game, their last game, and people of the stadium and their memories of the games that they went to and their favorite memory at the stadium. Then we kind of get back to the plays. Her friends run to where she's working because Nick has scheduled a third date with somebody, Top Bun, and she believes that this is the make it or break it point, and it could be a 6-month delay if the date that Nick goes on with this Top Bun girl is successful. Turns out the girl is a doctor, so of course they have a play for this. Nick is bringing Top Bun, at least they give the girl a name, but Top Bun to classical music theater, big kind of event, and it's completely sold out, so she can't even get tickets to like kind of pretend to go in there. They get the hospital to call her and bring her out for an emergency at the hospital. And then Mac goes in and pretends to have lost her ticket outside. She gets in, bumps into him at the bar, and makes up a story about her brother, which I'm like, I knew that will bite you in the ass later. And he invites her to sit with him for the second half, which is exactly what she wanted, of after the intermission. After they exit, he asks her on the date, finally.
Finally, we got the date.
She's made it. She's past the friend zone. It only took like 80,000 pieces to the play. They go out to celebrate the group, and Adam brings his new girlfriend, Claire. Turns out, normally you don't invite the new significant other unless you're serious, which means Adam and this girl, Claire, are serious. It takes Mac back a little bit. She's a little bit like, why did you not tell me about her? Which he doesn't really tell her why. I think he himself is also trying to move on now that he's realized that Mac wants something serious with somebody else. She's adamant about going on a double date, and so they do. They go on a double date. Adam, Claire, Nick, and Mac. And Claire suggests ordering food to share at the table, and turns out that Nick doesn't want to do that because he thinks that as a foreign correspondent and journalist, he doesn't share food because he believes people are trying to poison him in foreign countries.
A little bit self-important.
He's very self-important.
How do we feel about full fish being delivered? This was a sticking point for
is it Branzino? Branzino?
Adam.
Yes.
Damon Wayans Jr. has a problem with the
Big
fish
time.
having the eyes. How do you feel about it?
I also do not like fish with eyes. I don't like fish with skin. So I don't like with fish with skin or eyes or heads.
This is a sticking point for Sarah.
Fish skin or eyes. No, thank you.
No fish, anything for Sarah.
I'll eat fish with no skin or eyes or heads.
Okay.
I'm good. You? How about you? You've eaten. You know what? Yes, we've been in Europe and you've gotten a whole fish. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to look at it. I do believe that their eyes do follow you.
Like the Mona Lisa.
Yeah.
Following
Anywhere you go
around
in the
these
room, it's just
eyes.
there staring at you.
They're just watching you.
They're milky. Ugh. So the whole brunch, it's this big thing. And then Adam makes a joke about how Mac is an only child. And then she's caught in her first lie. Mm-hmm. Adam recovers nicely, though, and saves her. But the awkwardness between Nick and Claire watching Mac and Andrew is totally there.
Totally, because Adam, I mean, this is back to the chemistry thing. I think what we're meant to see as the audience is a lot of chemistry in this scene between Adam and Mac. We do see some chemistry.
Yes.
I honestly still saw it as like brother-sister energy is the vibe I got.
No,
but-
I did see romantic chemistry there.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. In that scene I thought was well done for their chemistry. Everything else I thought was lacking, more so for how they end up together in the end. But that scene I did think they sold it pretty well.
Okay.
Yeah. So Claire brings up that Mac is writing a feature about most memorable moments at sporting events and that she's been trying to get this specific person but can't seem to get him. It turns out that she did get him and interviewed him and everything. And Adam is so pumped for her. And again, like that's supportive bestie, potential love interest. That's usually what is right. Like that's what you want. You want your significant other to be proud of your accomplishments and proud of things that you've, set forth and have finally gotten to. And I think Adam is a very good friend in that regard. But yeah, the awkwardness during this is definitely there. So Nick piques his interest in like, oh, you're writing an article, like send it to me. And Adam says, yeah, send it to me too. Like, I'd love to read it. So Max sends her article to both Nick and Adam for their thoughts. And they're both excited. Well, no, I shouldn't say that. Adam is really excited to read it. He reads it right away, says it's how fantastic it is. And Nick takes 2 weeks to read it.
That's a red flag right off the bat.
Isn't really interested in reading it in the first place. And when he read it, he just kind of blows her off and says, oh yeah, no, it was good. And then she's like, well, can you give me some notes? So he says, yeah, sure. So she goes off on a job and it is boxing chess, which is a real sport, by the way. And while she's there, Nick provides her with notes for the article.
A full rewrite
of the article.
Basically.
Another red flag. But before we continue, I want to talk about weird but real sports. So there were no quick facts for this movie because it is very brand new. So I thought I would do something a little different, and it's called Weird but Real Sports.
Okay, can I make some guesses?
Absolutely.
Are there anything with bugs on this list?
No.
Okay.
There are a few, like we've done something like this before, so I tried to pick some that weren't like we haven't done. Like we've done the wife carrying race and the cheese wheel, bonanza and whatever. So these are a little different.
Cheese wheel bonanza.
I don't know if it's actually called that, but
it's
yeah.
It's definitely not called that.
I know.
I think it's just called like running of the cheese or something like that. It's in the UK. Anyway, what are yours?
All right. So we have first up, tuna tossing.
Tuna tossing?
Yes.
Is it tuna can be like 400 pounds, guys.
Yes.
How big are these tuna?
So the sport began in South Australia in a small fishing community of Port Lincoln. It was inspired by the local fishermen who would toss fish onto their trucks with force. And it started being used as a way to spice up local festivals. The winner is the person who manages to throw a 20-pound fish the furthest.
Sorry, if your local festivals need fish throwing to spice things up,
yeah,
I worry.
Okay,
I worry about your community, guys.
Growing up, did you ever do minnow races?
No.
Oh, we did minnow races.
Oh, so you have a minnow and you race the minnow?
Yeah, like down this little path, and whatever minnow got to the end fastest, you'd win a prize.
Oh, that's cute. I like that.
Yeah, it was at like our school fairs.
Meanwhile, these Aussies are chucking 20-pound tunas.
Yeah, the tuna tossing. Okay, the next is toe wrestling.
Okay.
So it's obviously similar to arm wrestling, with players attempting to pin down their opponent's toes for 3 seconds. Players play with their bare feet alternating between their left and right feet and play the best of 3 rounds. There are separate divisions for men and women, and there is a World Toe Wrestling Championship, and it's been ongoing since 1970s with growing participation. Are you a foot person? Like, do feet irk you out? Foot don't gross me out,
Okay.
but like I don't have a fetish.
I wasn't
If that
asking
helps.
if you had a
No,
fetish.
but like you were like, are you a foot person?
No.
The way you positioned it. I'm just clarifying, okay?
She doesn't have a fetish, guys. But like, would you ever? I feel like this is such a sibling game. Like, if you had a sibling, you probably did this stupid thing at some point, and somebody was like, "Oh, let's make a sport out of it."
Yes, I believe that that's probably how it started. I don't think I would entangle my toes with somebody else. If
Not
that
into toe
helps.
entanglements.
No,
Okay.
I'm not into toe entanglements. No. So chess boxing is real, like I
chess boxing
mentioned.
is real.
Yes.
I love
so
that.
competitors play 11 alternating rounds of chess and boxing for 3 minutes each. This sport has fans in Germany, India, Russia, and the UK.
I mean, it is the ultimate mix of
Intellect,
brains
yes.
versus brawn.
Yeah.
You have to have both. Like, you can't be lacking in one or the other.
Yeah, I just feel like the intellect might be knocked out of you, like the more you get hit, right?
Or, like, I feel like chess, there's a timer, but, like, you could probably stall a little bit on chess.
Right. Yes, if you need, an
So
extra
if you're
breather.
just, like, a really great boxer, maybe you can get by.
Okay, so the next one we have is bog snorkeling.
Oh, I already hate this. I already hate it.
So every August, over 100 swimmers from across the globe meet up in the Welsh town of I can't pronounce it, in Wales,
In a town in Wales.
to take part in the annual World Bog Snorkeling Championships.
Ugh.
All participants need to wear flippers and snorkels and have to complete 2 lengths of the 60-yard trench without using any traditional swimming strokes whatsoever.
Wait, so you can't swim?
I'm not sure how they get through.
You're not supposed to...
I'd like to see some videos.
Like a bog, can you run through a bog? Is that what's implied? Like you can't swim, you gotta like walk through
It's
it?
questions I don't have answers
How
for,
big is this
unfortunately.
bog?
It's 60 yards.
No, but like how deep is it?
Oh, I'm not sure. Not very deep from the picture I saw.
Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe... okay.
Next up, we have extreme ironing.
What lives in that bog? Like, I'm so worried about the bog. I've got... Listen,
Actually, I was reading a Smithsonian article a few weeks ago,
Shut up.
and they found a bog person from I don't know, 500 BCE.
God, you're so lame. Oh,
I'm sorry.
you're the only person I know who would be like, oh, yeah, I was just reading a
I
Smithsonian article.
I subscribe
about
to
bog
it.
people.
I quite enjoy their articles. Yes, they found a bog person from I would say around 530 BCE, which is like a really long time ago, and 2,500 years ago.
It's just somebody who was
It's
in a bog.
it was perfectly preserved because
And we have a
The
freaking
ca-
sport where people run through
Yes.
a bog where
Yeah.
bodies could be
Potentially.
See, that's the thing. Like, I like a lake because I can see most
Ugh,
of what's happening.
the bottom of lakes.
A bog. Yeah,
Creep
that's
me out.
The thing. The bottom of a lake gets creepy.
Ugh.
Think of a bog.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my sport. I don't like it. I'm just
Oh,
saying these are real. Next, we have, and you glossed over it, Devin, we have extreme ironing.
Yeah, that's funny.
Extreme ironing is a type of extreme sport where people take clothes and ironing boards to remote or dangerous locations to do a spot of ironing.
Oh, I thought it was like who could iron the fastest. No, we're moving these ironing boards.
According to the Extreme Ironing Bureau, extreme ironing is the latest danger sport that combines the thrills of an extreme outdoor activity with the satisfaction of a well-pressed shirt.
This sounds like the most annoying, pretentious person I've ever met in my freaking life. Imagine getting on a hot air balloon.
No.
You're like, wow, how
Oh my
amazing
God.
is this? And some asshole is ironing a
'Kay.
shirt. He's like, it's a sport, you know. I'm an athlete.
My grandmother
not.
used to iron everything, including towels.
I mean, did she ever do them anywhere strange? I just feel like if I was somewhere strange and unusual and I saw somebody ironing, that person just is dying for somebody to ask him, like, yeah, I'm in Machu Picchu and I'm ironing. Feel like I really channel Zoolander. Ben Zoolander in that, but
I hope that we find a ironer in the wild somewhere one day.
that's what I'm saying. Like, wouldn't that person
hope.
just be begging for people to ask? Like, ask me about my ironing.
Ask me about my wiener.
Yeah.
Okay. The last one, and I'm going to do some honorable mentions, but the last one that I want to talk about is giant pumpkin kayaking. So instead of using a kayak, they use a giant pumpkin. The most famous giant pumpkin race by far takes place annually in Nova Scotia. The race is around half a mile long, and participants typically decorate their pumpkin in a colorful way.
Nova Scotia, my people.
Yes. So
I feel like it's more like a canoe at that point, but
yeah.
the beggars can't be choosers, I guess. These must be gigantic pumpkins.
They are, yes. They're extremely large. Some honorable mentions: underwater football, Not sure how they keep that.
I feel like I
underneath.
have seen that. Yeah.
Yes. Unicycle hockey,
Okay, that's absurd.
competitive worm charming.
How do you know when it's charmed?
It's like a snake that you play the.
Yeah, but a worm though?
Yeah, I'm
Interesting.
not really sure. Pumpkin chucking,
Yeah, I like that.
dog surfing, and lawnmower racing.
You know, to our Australian friends, I was too harsh on the tuna toss because after hearing all the options, if there was one sport I would do, it would probably be that one or the pumpkin thing, the pumpkin canoe.
Oh goodness.
Yeah, those two. Yeah, apologies because the tuna toss sounds like it's at least has some athletic ability to it.
I would actually like to see the tuna toss.
Yeah, the tuna toss would be cool. Instead of some people running through a frickin' bog. Like, that sounds horrible.
It does sound awful, especially with those dead bodies.
Yeah.
Ooh. So they all have to go. Mac convinces all her friends to go to a gala that Nick is being honored at. And so it's the night of the gala and everyone is looking amazing. Adam lets the editor of the newspaper, who's also there, know that Mac has something for the newspaper, but she tells Adam after that Nick absolutely hated and basically rewrote it. And Adam asks, like, if you're like, are you seriously considering his version? Because it's like complete crap. He's rewritten you and he has to know, like, what do you like, Mac? Like, what are you about? Because you've transformed yourself into this person that isn't even you. You just like the things that he likes because you want to be with him so bad. They get into a huge argument and he says, like, you really only like him because he's an adult and someone who's like completely avoided checking in on her at the gala the entire night. He's so self-absorbed with his award and taking selfies with everybody else. He hasn't even come to see her the entire night. And like, who takes 2 weeks to read an article that's 5 pages long?
Yeah.
They basically leave. They're not talking. Once back in the apartment, Nick calls Adam flaky, which Mac does not like. But now she gets a drawer. She's finally actually gotten her goal where Nick has given her a drawer in his apartment.
She doesn't want it.
She doesn't want it. She finally brings up the article and says, you know what? Like, why did you rewrite my article? And he says, because it was just easier. And she's like, that doesn't feel good. You couldn't even just give me the notes because you didn't think I could actually write it. And he tells her that you might not have a job in 2 weeks anyway because they're doing more layoffs. And she's like, why didn't you tell me that? Like, we're in a relationship. This is like a reciprocal relationship that you can't share things with me. And he's so self-absorbed. And he thinks that she's freaking out for no reason at all. And they break up because she doesn't deserve that. And she knows that. And she realizes that he's never going to be someone who can be there for her. So she goes and has her sad falafel. But she does send her editor the piece that she wrote and not the piece that Nick edited. The group is out celebrating without Adam because he hasn't returned any of Mac's phone calls. And then they see Claire, and Claire's macking on somebody else. So they all go up to her and say, like, what are you doing? You're cheating on our friend. And she goes, I broke up with him a long time ago because Adam is in love with you, Mac. And Mac's like, what? No, he's not. Oh my gosh. The rest of the friends sit her down and they have a conversation with Mac saying, like, dude, he is so in love with you. It's unbelievable.
So obvious to everybody except for Mac.
Yeah.
I think this might be one of the longest amount of times we go in a rom-com before the love interests actually realize that they love each other. The only other one I could think of, and it doesn't quite count, but like maybe P.S. I Love You, because she doesn't go back to that town that what's-his-face is in
Right.
until the very last scene of the movie. But they kind of have a moment midway through. I was kind of like, and now we've finally made it. I looked at my phone and there was like 7 minutes left in the movie.
I know.
Welcome, Mac.
This is going to tie up really quickly. Yeah. So basically at work, they run a play on Adam. The group runs a play on Adam. Ashley, the girl who's now part of their group, gets tickets to the baseball game for that night. They pretend to kidnap Little and bring him out and get him to the game. But really, this is to get Adam to the game. They bring Adam to meet Mac outside the stadium. She does her grand gesture, lays it all out there.
Classic grand romantic gesture, a great speech.
Tells him why she loves him. Then she tells him that she does love him, and then they kiss.
Mwah, a beautiful end to our movie. And now, as we said, we don't have any quick facts, so we can move right on to honorable mentions. My honorable mention is, without a doubt, I mean, the whole supporting cast for this film is fantastic.
Yeah.
I do want to point out Joel Courtney, though. In terms of a great decision in his career, because, remember, he was in, I think he's probably most notable from The Kissing Booth, playing Lee Flynn in those 3 movies. Where, I mean, we did those 3 movies on the pod, and, like, I thought he might have been the weaker character
Yes.
of everybody who was involved kind of thing. And I just thought, like, he definitely had something, like, as an actor, but I didn't feel it in those performances, and that might have been the writing of his character. Totally.
Yeah, kind of cast aside almost, interestingly.
I like him. Like, he hasn't done much since The Kissing Booth 3. He's done a movie called Sick, Jesus Revolution, and now this, and I kind of liked it as like I'm just going to be the really funny sideline character. I'm going to be like a glue guy who pulls the group together kind of. That was his whole thing. He has a little love story on his end on the side with Ashley. I was just so pleased to see Joel Courtney, like, you know, take a step back. You don't need to be the lead here. You don't need to be like the second or third, or you could be like the 4th or 5th person, and you can nail it. And I think it almost makes me feel like, yeah, maybe he could lead a movie again, you know?
I agree. And I think for me, my honorable mention is like the friend group, because I think the writing for them was well done. And the way that they were brought into the script and the story was like, you felt like you were part of it. You felt like you were part of them running the plays that you didn't fully understand, but you enjoyed it. The jokes were really well done with all of them. Like, you watched it played out and you enjoyed it. Like, I enjoyed watching all of the scenes with the friends, and they were a big part of the movie. Like, she really wasn't without her friend group for a lot of the movie.
What should have been?
I mean, I think we would both agree maybe a little bit more chemistry for the actual love interests at the end, right?
Yeah, I talked about that before. I'm going to talk about it a little bit more later. I agree with that. I would have loved, because I thought the plays that they run are so clever and so funny, I would have liked to see it a little bit more in the How I Met Your Mother style, where, like, give me a little chalkboard write-up of what this is kind of thing. Or like
right.
A graphic,
Yes.
like splash something on the screen.
Yeah.
A la Barney Stinson on How I Met Your Mother. In fact, this film made me think of, like, what are some of the funny plays that he would run on How I Met Your Mother? Would you like to hear some?
Yes, absolutely.
Barney Stinson would sometimes do the Lorenzo von Matterhorn was the name of the play.
I do remember that.
Think of a fancy, unique name. Create fake websites praising this fake person for all his prestigious achievements. Tell girls how famous you are, and when they Google you, they're impressed by your success. He runs a play called The Brian's Friend. Walk up to a girl. Tell her it's great to see her again and that you're sorry, but you can't quite remember her name. When she says she doesn't know you, tell her you're Brian's friend. Because literally, everyone knows a Brian.
I don't know a Brian. Like, off the top of my head, I can't tell you who I know that is Brian. I met a Brian when I was in Ireland.
Brian.
And that's it. I don't even think I have anybody named Brian on my Facebook.
Do you have a cousin named Brian?
No. If I do, I'm sorry, but I don't think I do. Do you know a Brian?
I don't know a Brian either.
Like, maybe that's like a specific, like, time period thing. You know?
It's only accurate 10 to 15 years ago. Ooh, there are no more Brians.
No more Brians.
I was actually just watching a TikTok that was like, it was from a kid talking about how, like, old people names, like, what do you think of as old people names?
Dick.
Whatever you think of, they're like, oh yeah, Olivia, what an old people name. And I'm like, oh God, we're going to get to a point where, like, Gertrude, like, how we look at Norma is how kids are going to start looking at, like, Brittany.
Yeah.
And
Jessica. Stephanie. Sarah.
Sarah, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's also like a why it would work part, which I find funny for Bronnie Stinson. He said she'll feel bad about forgetting you. At the very least, she'll continue asking you questions about how you know Brian in the hopes that it'll jog her memory. That's why it would work. He also does the missing cat. Figure out who's missing a cat. Go to the animal shelter and adopt a cat that looks like the missing feline. Bring it to her owner, who just happens to be a single girl, because of course.
Of course.
And then why it works, because you saved her beloved pet. You're basically a hero.
Local celebrity.
A local celebrity. And now overall rewatchability. I've got chemistry, a 2.2. Already talked about it. Did not love the chemistry at all times in this movie. Although the chemistry between like the actual friend group was fantastic. And the chemistry between Damon and Gina was good. It just didn't scream
romance.
Yeah. Storyline, 3.65. Thirst factor, 3.95. Not only is Gina gorgeous, her style in this movie.
Oh, frick, I loved
the
it.
Dresses she wears.
Yes.
And then Tom Ellis is no slouch. I'm sure you would agree.
Yeah, no, he's not.
Imagination of 4.59. It is a very clever movie. It's a very clever script. Soundtrack a 3.15. Nothing really notable there. And Cheese a 3.25. That's an overall score of 3.465 for me.
Okay, my rewatchability is chemistry 3.6. That is for the friend group. Storyline 4.1. Thirst factor 4.5 because yes. Fine people. Imagination 4.3. Yeah, some good concepts. I liked it. Soundtrack 3, Cheese 3.5 for an overall score of 3.83 out of 5.
This has been the Rom-Com Rewind of Players. No matter where you're listening, throw us a follow, and throw us a follow on Instagram at Rom-Com Rewind.
Thanks for listening.